Good evening and welcome. I am Amarachi Ubani. Tonight, Abia State government moves to douse tension in the state as Governor Ikpeazu announces the withdrawal of soldiers from Abia streets beginning tomorrow. 32 suspected members of IPOB arraigned in a Port Harcourt Magistrates Court for allegedly unleashing violence in the community and killing a police officer in Rivers State. Inspector General of Police announces plans to deploy more officers across the country to check rising tension over the activities of IPOB. And at least 60 people are killed in attacks by suicide bomber and gunmen in southern Iraq.
On business news tonight, former President of Tanzania, Benjamin Mkapa, asks federal government not to sign European Union's economic partnership agreement but seek industrialization within the country.
On sports news tonight, the Tigers of Nigeria qualify for the semi-final of the 2017 FIBA Afro-Basket after beating Cameroon 106-91 points.
And from Abuja, electricity workers protest in Abuja demand payment of their severance allowances 5 years after the privatization of the state power company, PHCN.
Beginning from tomorrow, September 15th, there will be a gradual withdrawal of soldiers from the streets of Abia State. This is according to the state governor, Ikpeazu. The governor announced this today during a press briefing in Umuahia on the security situation in the state, which has been embroiled in violence following the deployment of soldiers for a special operation there. Governor Ikpeazu said he was concerned about the situation in the state and says he will be meeting President Muhammadu Buhari to discuss possible ways of relaxing the Operation Python Dance 2 in the state for now.
The security situation in the state in the past few days, which led to the deployment of soldiers into our state ahead of the Operation Python Dance 2, has become of great concern to both government and the citizenry. After several interventions, I want to inform you that by tomorrow morning, there will be gradual withdrawal of soldiers from the streets of Abia and Umuahia, apart from the pre-existing military checkpoints at various locations in the state, originally designed to curb kidnapping, armed robbery, and other violent crimes. With the expected exit of the soldiers from the streets, we must warn that we will not tolerate agitators and protesters taking over streets for any reason at all. I will also be meeting the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, President Muhammadu Buhari, to discuss possible ways of relaxing the Operation Python Dance 2 or Egweke in the state for now. Our attention has been drawn to the ugly incidences of attacks on police stations and military posts at Abia, Umuahia, and other locations. We hereby warn that we will no longer tolerate that and all other acts that are capable of causing insecurity of any form within the state. We have also observed illegal acts of throwing petrol bombs and setting up a bonfire to obstruct free movement along some roads by suspected miscreants, and wish to warn that such acts should stop forthwith. To mischief makers who want to use Abia State as their base, let me announce to you that henceforth, Abia will be too hot for you to carry out your wicked acts, as government will work with security agents to ensure the protection of lives and properties in the state without fear or favor. There will be no hiding place for you after this moment.
Staying with the issue surrounding the IPOB activities, 32 persons alleged by the police in Rivers State to be members of the group were today arraigned before a magistrate court in Port Harcourt, the Rivers State capital. The 32 persons were arrested during the recent attack by IPOB members on some residents of Oyigbo, in which properties were destroyed and a police officer killed the day after an attack by hoodlums on mobile policemen at Oyigbo Junction. Our correspondent Emmanuel Ere reports on what transpired at the court today.
Of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, without local authority, blocked the entire Abia-Port Harcourt expressway and attacked some residents.
The Commissioner of Police in Rivers State, Zaki Ahmed, narrating the ugly incidents that occurred during an attack by alleged members of the indigenous people of Biafra on residents and the police in Oyigbo local government area of Rivers State. The day after, security inside and outside the premises of the State High Court is tight, as the 32 arrested members of IPOB make their way to the magistrate court to face charges. Some of them try to protest before the cameras as they are led to the court by security operatives. It's a rowdy session inside as the arrested IPOB members continue to protest their situation to anyone who cares to listen before the chief magistrate arrived. After listening to arguments from the counsel to the accused and the prosecution, Justice Amadi Nna ordered that the file be sent to the Department of Public Prosecution and that the accused be remanded in prison custody until the determination of the matter.
The court has rights under Section 309, subsection 1 and 2 of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act as applicable to Rivers State to receive the matter, detain them, and of course transmit the record to the Chief Registrar for onward transmission to the Deputy Director of Public Prosecutions for continuation of the matter.
Under Section 98 and 99 of the Administration of Criminal Justice Law, the magistrate has to remind them not later than 7 days upon transmitting the file to the CJ for reassignment to a High Court judge.
After the court session, emotion takes over as one of the accused persons is prevented from going to his wife and son. The mother and child are in tears as the accused try to console them. They are not alone. These women are also pained as their loved ones are taken away. As security agencies continue to prosecute indicted suspected members of IPOB for alleged breach of public peace, destruction of properties and other criminal acts, some have called for caution to ensure that innocent citizens are not made to suffer. Emmanuel Ire, Channels Television News.
We return once more to Abia State, where the pronouncement of Governor Okezie Ikpeazu came on the heels of the allegation that 3 people had been killed in Umuahia, the state capital, allegedly by soldiers. The incident was said to have triggered violent reaction in the neighboring town of Abia, resulting in the burning of police station by an angry mob at Ariaria International Market. But the Nigerian army has denied killing anyone in Umuahia, insisting that the rumor is baseless and mischievous and should therefore be disregarded.
Barricaded roads, locked shops, agitated crowd, all indicators that all is not well in Abia State, southeast Nigeria. And these spent cartridges are evidence to that effect.
You see what the army did? You didn't see it.
Allegation leveled against the Nigerian army by the residents is that of murder. And the people are crying out for justice.
They shot 3 people wearing black polo and jean, black. They shot them, 3 of them, and carried them away with soldiers.
Proclaiming the innocence of the army in a phone interview is the Deputy Director, Army Public Relations of the 82nd Division, who insists that some people are manipulating events to discredit the army, whose presence, he adds, is merely coincidental.
The issue is an allegation. An allegation remains an allegation until proven otherwise. These are issues mostly based on propaganda and misinformation. There is no evidence. If somebody is claiming somebody has killed somebody, then let me see the evidence. At no point should we degenerate to the level of killing innocent Nigerians. The soldiers that are operating in Abia, just like those in other areas in the southeastern part of Nigeria, are there for good, for the peace, security and stability of Abia State and Abia in particular, and other southeastern states. Nobody is negated. Nobody will be harassed or molested.
Not taking chances, security patrol vehicles are out to quell any uprising. This, the police commissioner says, will deter those with ideas of violence.
People take the law into their hands, go attack and destroy property. There are hoodlums. If you carry out peaceful agitation, it's a different thing. But when you turn to violence, of course, we should not stand idly by to allow you to get away with it. And because of that, everybody is already being directed to take the necessary step to enforce the law. I think nobody should test the will of the state. We've deployed people to go and ensure that the whole of that area is clear. And wherever there are those pockets of hoodlums activities, we ensure that it's clear. All harm is on deck now by security agencies to make sure that we don't allow the hoodlums to take advantage of the situation.
As the crisis lingers, there will always be two sides pointing fingers at one another from a distance. What many believe will be better is if the reasons for the agitation are resolved before words no longer matter.
Back in Rivers State, members of the State Council on Islamic Affairs have raised alarm over alleged plans by members of IPOB to attack them again. They're worried that if nothing is done to check what they call an impending crisis, the situation can become uncontrollable. The Deputy President General, Nasir Uhor, during a meeting with journalists in Port Harcourt, called on security agencies to come to their aid, wondering why innocent people should be the target of agitations by IPOB.
In the last 2 years, IPOB protests have always ended up targeting Muslims and their mosques at Gambia Street, Elelenwa, Oyibo, and so on. Tuesday's attack was therefore not new. We are saying all this and want to categorically state now that enough is enough.
Meanwhile, in a bid to forestall a breakdown of law and order in Nigeria, the Inspector General of Police says there will be a deployment of officers across the country. The police boss said this at the presidential villa, where he had gone to meet with the vice president to discuss the security challenges in the country, especially the tension in the southeast. The IGP also reacted to the allegation by the governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, that police personnel are involved in robberies and kidnapping in the state.
The highlight of our meeting is to obviously ensure that our provision of security all over the country is intact.
I'm sure you're monitoring very closely events in the southeast of the country.
Obviously, I think that's the main concern now.
Now, what are the strategies you're adopting? What plans?
The strategy obviously we are doing is to ensure that we deploy policemen all over the country. Two, we're in touch with the government. Try to also mobilize the political leadership to be able to intervene where necessary on how to lessen the tension that is presently taking place in the northeast. Southeast.
Wike, governor of Rivers State, made a sweeping accusation yesterday when he said most of the crimes committed in the state are done by your members, SARS precisely. What would be your reaction to this, sir?
Obviously, everybody has the right of expression, right? That's his right. And he's a governor. He's a state governor. Obviously, I have to deny that. That's nonsense. Look, what I'm saying is that I just want you to read between the lines. If you have leaders making sweeping allegations, obviously it's not. I don't want to comment on it. It doesn't make sense to me.
In Plateau State, Governor Simon Lalong has declared a dusk to dawn curfew within the Greater Jos and Bukuru metropolis, following the spread of rumors of violence over the agitation by the indigenous people of Biafra in the southeast of the country. The government explained in a press statement that the curfew will remain in force until further notice. The governor also directed the immediate deployment of security personnel to all flashpoints within the Jos metropolis to ensure compliance with the curfew and avert any breach of peace. There was tension and apprehension in Jos metropolis, leading to early closure of markets and shops as residents rushed to get home early. Channels Television went around some of the hotspots and witnessed youths of different divides keeping vigil to protect their communities. Media officer of the Special Task Force, Captain Umar Adamu, told Channels Television on the telephone that security personnel have been deployed to all flashpoints to curb any violence.